Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. There's the recording. Yep. Thank you all for being here at Finessed Media Saturday events. We all at Finessed Media truly appreciate you just showing up to all of our events. You could be anywhere doing anything you want on a Saturday, but you chose to be here with us, and we really appreciate that. So thank you again. Today we have a really cool event. We'll be talking with Queer Capita, a organization that is very affluent in the queer spaces, obviously, Queer Capita, and just to highlight and recognize queer individuals working in the music industry. But before we get to them, we're gonna open up the audience to meet some of y'all. So I'll call on you. Tell me your name, where you're based, and your favorite queer artist at the moment. So I'm gonna start with Izzy Vega. Hello, Izzy. How are you?
Hey, good. How are you? My name is Izzy. I am from San Diego, and my favorite queer artist right now is my friend. His name is DM Radio. He's from Washington, D.C. And I've been rocking his music lately.
Nice. I love the plug too. Just do that. Love that. Put your friends on. Thank you for being here today. So let's see. Amber D. Hello. You can tell us your name, where you're from, and your favorite queer artist at the moment.
So my name is Amber DeBellis. I am from Minnesota in the Twin Cities, and my current favorite queer artist is probably Sophie. I've been listening to her a bunch lately.
Love it. Okay. Well, thank you for being here with us today.
Sure.
Who am I going to pick on next? Actually, I want to call on our panelists. We have 3 panelists today, guys. Michael, Tom, Zach.
Yes. Hi, everybody. I'm super excited to be here. I'm one of the panelists today. I work at Sony Music doing publicity. Super excited to be talking about Queer Capita, which is an organization super close to my heart. And shout out to Nico founding it. Can't wait to dig in further. I'm based in Brooklyn, Bed-Stuy. My favorite queer artist at the moment, I'm going to hype one of my own artists, Orla Gartland. She's an incredible indie singer-songwriter from Dublin. She just had her song synced on Netflix's Heartstopper, and then her song exploded. So check her out. Oh yeah, Danny, you already know. So I love that.
I love Heartstopper. I watched that show
So
like
good.
3 times in a row.
You should watch.
So good. Everyone, you need to watch something. Okay, watch Heartstopper. Okay, plugging that. Okay, Gaurav. I forgot quickly. That's probably you pronounce your first name.
No, you're good. You're good.
Cool.
My favorite queer artist right now he's also a friend, and he's someone I used to work with at a previous job. His name is Leo Kalyan. He is a South Asian queer artist, and he's been going viral a lot on Reels because he's been mashing up really famous Bollywood songs with popular songs. And he just he just performed at this really big Bollywood actress's baby shower. So that was a very big deal for the South Asian queer community because that has never happened. And he wore a dress. So it was a very big kind of, different moment for all of us. And you never see something like that.
Right.
And another queer media thing that's not music related, but I just want to share was I completely binge watched the new season of Love, Victor, literally last night through and through. And, I've been really into that show. So that was also a fun thing. And they do music syncing in that show really well. So I really appreciate the way they do that.
Was the final season good? I've watched other seasons.
I will say 1 and 2 were a little bit better. They are starting to lose me a little bit, but they keep putting in cute guys. So I'm like, okay.
It's worth it for the cute guys.
Yeah, that's fine.
And Nico, our final panelist today. Hello.
Hi, everyone. My name's Nico. I'm a co-founder of Queer Capita. Super excited to have directors Gaurav and Michael here today. I live in Brooklyn. And a queer artist I'm listening to right now is actually an Orchard artist. Shout out Michael. Dre Bay. I love his new song Bad with 2 Ds. It's very cute. I love that song. We just premiered it. I work at Vevo, and we just did his music video yesterday. So check it out after the panel.
Love to hear it. Yes, everyone check out all new music that's coming up, especially by queer artists and POC artists. Gotta support. I'll call in a couple more people and then we'll get started. Ashley Evers, hello. You tell us your name, where you're from, and your favorite queer artist at the moment.
Hey guys, I'm Ashley. I'm from Wisconsin, but I'm currently based in Brooklyn. And my favorite queer artist right now is actually also one of my artists, shameless plug, but Remy Wolf. She's great. I just saw her at Primavera Sound in Spain. It was so much fun.
You dropped that so nonchalantly, Remy Wolf.
Do I have any Remy fans in the house?
Yes. What the heck? That's awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Especially at these Saturday events here, guys, it's really awesome if you turn on your cameras. You can leave your mics off, but just so everyone in here could know your faces, put a name to a face. It's a really great way to network and just learn and meet new people around you that have share a common interest, music, obviously. So we'll call on one more person. Flossie, are you in the building? Can you unmute yourself and tell us about yourself? If not, that is okay. There you go, Flossie.
I'm here walking my dog. Hi, everyone. I'm also a little sick. I'm Flossie. I'm in LA. Do you know who I like? Is JoJo Siwa, you guys.
Oh my God, that's awesome. And you had the blonde hair match.
Yeah, but happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, DJ Flossie, for being with us today.
Hi, governors.
Yeah, all right. So we will get started. I'll pass it over to Bea, our host for today.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Bea Dimaculangan. I use she, her pronouns, and I am an event and community coordinator here at Finessed Media. And we are celebrating Pride all month long and are super excited to bring you this panel today. While there has been progress in queer representation over the years, there is still much work to be done. Which is why today we're highlighting the work of an amazing organization, Queer Capita, which is a professional networking and community organization for LGBTQ plus professionals working in the music industry. So today we'll be discussing their networking and community programming, what it means to be queer in the industry, and visions for uplifting the community beyond Pride Month. So with us today, we have Nico Machlitt, who is an associate digital marketing manager at Vevo and also the co-founder of Queer Capita. At Vevo, he oversees the marketing for Pride and Black History Month and has worked with artists like Giveon, Madison Beer, and Kid Leroy. And this past fall, launched Queer Capita, which has grown into a community of over 200 members working at over 100 music companies. So welcome, Nico. If you could give a wave to the folks here today. Amazing. Also with us today, we have Michael Tomczak, who is an associate director of publicity at The Orchard, which is under Sony Music, and is also a director at Queer Capita. He started in publicity at the world-renowned Carnegie Hall, and now at Sony, he works across diverse genres with indie artists such as Tems, Cautious Clay, Sinead Harnett, and his work can be found in Billboard, Rolling Stone, Forbes, and more. Welcome, Michael. And last but not least, we have Gaurav Simha, who is an operations associate in the music business development team at Meta, and he is also a director at Queer Capita. At Meta, he helps develop strategies for music integrations across the metaverse. And previously, he was a project coordinator at Artist Originals, which is the leading indie label in South Asia. So we are so excited to have you all here today. So the agenda for today's panel from now until about 12:45, we're going to have a discussion with our panelists with some interview questions. Then at 12:45 to 1 o'clock, we're going to open it up to an audience Q&A where you guys will be able to ask our panelists some more of your own questions. And then from 1 to 1:30, we are going to split up into some breakout rooms so that you can network among each other in the community and also get to talk a little bit more intimately with our panelists. So So we are going to jump right into our discussion, and I want to open it up by asking if you could share a little bit about your background and journey into the music industry. Nico, why don't you start us off here?
Yeah, for sure. I am in the music industry, which is still honestly kind of weird to say because this is not a goal. This was not like the path I had intended. I was a journalism major in college, and I interned at a few different media organizations doing a lot of like social and digital marketing. I was at the Oprah Magazine, Complex, Comedy Central, and then after college, I had a job for a few months at Billboard. Mostly was there to cover like Grammys and do stuff like that. And I really loved working at Billboard. I had a great time. But I still wasn't totally sure if music was the right path for me. And so I went to work in television marketing for 2 years at AMC Networks across Sundance TV and WeTV. And then I've been at Vevo, and I missed music so much. I contacted some friends from Billboard, and I was like, how can I get back into music? It was just like, I love television. It was like a great experience, but I was really just like more of a music person at heart, it turned out. And so now I've been at Vevo for almost 3 years, and I've gone to work with a lot of great artists. I work with across all the original content. So any of our like, where it's just like an artist and a mic in a studio, it's like was kind of the sessions I love doing, as well as of course the really like high production, high value music videos. But and then like a year ago, I was on a call because I was doing the Pride campaign last year. Well, I guess more than a year ago, like a year and a half ago, I was doing the Pride campaign last year, and I had met, and I was working with this artist Shamir, and I wanted him to be part of the campaign. And I met my friend Dan, and we just kind of had a talking, and we were in a call together, and we were all like, it was like maybe like 5-7 of us on a call, and I could tell right away. I was like, we're gonna be friends. We gotta hang out. So we had our own Zoom call. He was like, I actually live right down the street. We like figured out he lives right down the street from me. We started talking, hanging out a bunch, and that's honestly how a lot of like my queer like community connections in the music industry have started. And yeah, so I've just been in the music industry for a while now, and I've been at Vevo for almost 3 years, and I started Queer Capita, and it's amazing. And yeah, I love music, and I could not see myself working in any other industry now.
Amazing. I love that. We're definitely going to get a little bit more into how the idea for Queer Capita started and how it's grown. But Gaurav, how about you? Do you want to share a little bit of your background and your journey into the music industry?
Yeah, I totally forgot to say before, I'm based between New Jersey and New York. Home base is New Jersey right now, but I'm in New York like every single week. I was just staying in New York for the past week, and I'm just between both. But yeah, so I started my journey. I knew pretty early on in high school I wanted to join music in some capacity. So I ended up going to the NYU Music Business program, majored in music business, minored in the business of entertainment, media, and technology. I don't know if there's any NYU people or anybody interested in the program. I highly recommend the program. It was really great. Lived in New York throughout it, and interned in a whole bunch of different places, Epic Records, Sony BMG. I worked for independent publicists for a while. I was doing live. And I eventually, being South Asian myself, I got connected to Giveon, which is the largest music streaming service in South Asia. And, I reached out talking about, I'd done a project on the value of the South Asian music market, and I kind of shared them my research. And so they didn't really have an internship program at the time, but they really wanted to work with me. So I was their first intern and started to intern at their in-house record label. And then they hired me part-time during my senior year as a creative assistant. They were the only streaming service at the time to have their own in-house record label, and we were doing things that were very different. So I was the assistant during my senior year, and then they hired me full-time right after that. So I was at Giveon for about 3 years, and my education was in music overall, so I was ready to go back to the mainstream music industry space, and I really wanted to do that. And so someone from Meta reached out to me a year ago, which was Facebook then. And I know Meta is a scary term for a lot of people to say still, but I joined the music business development team, and our team is the one that negotiates all of the deals with all the record label holders. So we do work with the Orchard in some capacity. There are talk, we have open conversations, other people, not me, but with Vevo. And we're the ones who kind of come up with the digital strategy of how to get music on products. So our biggest discussions are about Reels, the IG music sticker, user generated content, Facebook stories, WhatsApp stories. So we work on all of that, and I'm the operations guy behind all of that. So I'm the one who's constantly making sure things are working, agreements are in place, organizing a lot of stuff, and it's honestly been amazing. I joined Queer Capita when Nico has reached out to me on LinkedIn because I saw the LinkedIn post and I was hoping he would, so I liked like everything and I kept commenting, this is so awesome. And then we saw, like, ends up Nico knows some people I went to college with, and once the board actually came together, we realized that we have all known each other or worked together in some sort of capacity because industry is so small. Like I know a lot of people at the Orchard that Michael works with. I worked with them when I was at Artist Originals. The Vevo team that Nico works with interfaces with another team of mine at Meta. So it's been really, really great to not only do this from a business capacity, but also realize how, it's very easy to be the only queer person in a room, but Queer Capita has really made it so much more comfortable for me to realize there are so many people like that. And outside of just Queer Capita, we've been able to text each other about, hey, I need an artist to come here, or hey, we need someone to go there, or hey, is somebody funding this? And now I can just like, instead of digging through LinkedIn, I'll just call Nico or text Michael and, just say, hey, this is what's going on. So it's been really fantastic that way.
Right. Oh, yes, that's so awesome to hear. Michael, how about you? Can you share a little bit about your background and journey into the music industry?
Yes. Thank you guys for having me. I'm really excited to be here. Just want to say that off the bat. Big fan of Finessed Media over here. I've been always wanting to do music. It was always my dream. I didn't know exactly how I would get here, what I would be doing exactly, but it was always a part of the plan in some way. I'm from a small town in Illinois, so in the Midwest, it's kind of like the idea is like, you do choir, you do theater, you do all of that, voice lessons, all that type of stuff, but no one was really teaching me about the business side. So I kind of took that upon myself, like just early, just going to the library, getting Billboard magazine, reading it, and not really even realizing that, once YouTube was a thing, always just like watching interviews with all my favorite artists, really understanding like what they were saying in each interview and why they would be saying it. And then all of a sudden, I went to school in Chicago for more classical music based music and for performance, for voice, and kind of quickly realized when I was in college that, I wasn't going to be able to be a performer, but I have the utmost respect for performers and artists of all kinds. And it kind of just, eventually led to an internship directly out of college in PR, which for classical music, which was just kind of a perfect fit. It had so many of the aspects of, performing that I kind of like. My job is really important to, meet editors, meet journalists, and really get a bond with them so they can understand the artist's music and their journey and their story. And so I started my career at Carnegie Hall, where I worked for 5 years in their press office. And it was an amazing experience for me because, orchestras, opera singers, jazz artists, they come there from all around the world. And so it really opened my opportunity to work with all different types of media. So like I'd be working with outlets that I'd never heard of before, and then I'd be working with the New York Times and CBS Sunday Morning. So it really opened these doors for me that I was able to work with, top tier media from the get-go. And so, but it was so classical based, and it is that I kind of felt like, I want to be repping artists that I'm listening to on my Spotify every single day, so I was able, through the power of networking, which I really can't, tell you enough. So everyone that is here today, you should be really grateful. You could have done anything today, and to do this means a lot because networking is everything in the music industry. No one gets a job in this industry unless they know someone on the other side. And so doing something like this is really important. And it led to a job at Sony where I've been able to, lead campaigns, as a one-person team for some of my favorite artists, Tems, Joyce Rice, Cautious Clay. I just started working with Ray, which I'm really excited about. She's a UK pop singer. So I'm very excited to be here and just excited to talk about Queer Capita, which, Gaurav said, I think perfectly, which is, it feels like such a community already. And, we are only just getting started. And so it's really exciting to see where this organization can go. And I can't say enough about how important it is.
Yeah, that's amazing. And continuing off the point that you just said about how it's it's, just getting started and continuing to grow. Nico, I would love if you could talk a little bit more about how the idea for Queer Capita started, and seeing the need for it in the industry and how it's grown in the past 2 years.
Yeah, it's actually not even been 1 year. We had
Oh
started in
wow!
August,
I know,
and
crazy.
it's not even been 1 year.
Wow.
I know, it's wild. But yeah, so as I kind of mentioned earlier, I met my friend Dan about a year and a half ago because I'm working on Vevo's Pride campaign for last year, and he was working with this artist Shamir at the time, and we kind of met through a Zoom room, and then we had our own individual chat. We figured out he lived in my neighborhood, just like down the street. And we just started talking, and we started hanging out as like friends. And then of course, like we actually started talking about music, and how the connection that we made is like kind of how I've met so many people. Like, I don't even think I've told Michael this, but I heard about Michael way before I ever met him, because we have a friend in common, Blair, my old coworker, who works with Michael again now. And she was always like, you gotta meet my friend. Okay, why am I holding chopstick? She was like, you gotta meet my friend Michael. Like, he's so funny, he's so talented. And I heard about all the great work he was doing way before I ever met him. And of course, like as Gaurav said, like we have multiple friends in common. And my good friend Gabby, who worked at Vevo at the time, she was like, well, I heard about Gaurav because she was like, well, we went to college together. He's very like creative. He's in music too. Like, you guys have to meet. And we'd heard about all these people before. And so when Dan and I were kind of talking about that, because I had many one-off connections too, and he had many connections too, but it really wasn't a space for us to all meet. And so when we kind of were getting to talking, he was like, why don't we just throw a happy hour in New York? I think at this point it was like early summer. And we were like, why don't we just throw a happy hour, maybe like August, September, like end of summer. We can use this summer to kind of talk to people. I talked to Michael, talked to Gaurav, talked to other people, being like, if we throw this event, like, would you come? Like, would people even show up? Like, so we threw a happy hour at this bar in Williamsburg. And we were just like, the whole summer I was like talking to my friend Josh, talking to my friend Todd, talking to other people. Dan was talking to a bunch of people too, just being like, if we did like do this event, would you show up? So we threw the event at 6 p.m. I'll never forget this. 6 p.m. Me and Dan were there from 6 p.m. to 6:45. Crickets in the bar. No one was there. It's just us. I go, oh, well, I guess, we tried. Nothing, that's not going to go anywhere. It's okay. In walks Michael with about 4 of his friends. Then everyone starts coming in. I was like, thank God people came. And it's just kind of like grown since that. I mean, as queer people, we already have just such unique connections, and especially in the music industry, that's another even smaller community within that. We have these connections, but we really do want to help people. We really want to support people. Like, I was working with like a lot of people in Queer Capita that are not only part of the board, but part of the membership overall for months before this even was created. And like, since this has been created, our bonds have only formed and grown more. So we had our first event in August, and then we formed the board a couple months later, which thankfully Michael and Gaurav are on. And we've continued to throw monthly industry mixers. We just had a panel at Music Biz last month, so we had to throw our first Nashville mixer there, sponsored by Vevo. And this past week we had another panel at Indie Week, which was also really great. And we've just been kind of growing really steadily. And I think it only goes to show the community that was needed, and that we do all really, thing is, we all know each other. Like, we're all we're all at the same shows, we're all at the same listening parties, we all like know each other. And so how this community, it's really just like beneficial. And it's just, I'm so grateful that enough people wanted to come together and that the support really is there. We're launching our mentorship program later this summer, which we're also really excited about, with this amazing organization out for undergrad, if anyone wants to look into that on their own. And so yeah, we're really excited about everything that we have going on. So yeah, I mean, and Michael and Gaurav can definitely speak to their own experiences, but yeah, I'm really grateful and really excited about everything that we have growing. Yeah, and as you said, we're over 200 members at over 100 companies. We have had some great sponsorships so far, and we're announcing our Pride Party on Tuesday. But yeah, it's gonna be really exciting. We're gonna have a Pride Party in Brooklyn, and I think those are all the details I can give right now. But more will be coming. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes, that's so amazing to hear all of that. It's so wild to hear that you guys have been less than a year, because I know that you started in 2021, and I remember coming to one of the earlier events. So, and already I felt like such a sense of community, and like felt like I had automatically created this bond with these people. So it for me it felt like, oh wow, it's been like 2 years, but it hasn't even been a year. So that's so amazing to hear. Michael, do you want to add anything to that about
Yeah, I
how
was for sure. Like I was gonna say, like that how fast, Nico and Dan especially just like taking the reins of this organization and running with it is just outstanding. I mean, just to know that, like, agreed, like when we were at that first mixer, there was just this synergy that happened. And what Nico said was very true. It's like the need and the necessity of this was so important that like it's just been really, beautiful to see how it's blossomed in less than a year. I mean, one highlight I think for sure is the presenting at Music Biz is really powerful survey that Illuminate and Billboard did together with Queer Capita, and Queer Capita having such a presence in that important finding about why LGBT artists in music is so powerful when it comes to just the consumer power of it all is really great. And so yeah, it's all been very organic, and I love that too. It's like, not to mention, these are people that I really respect, like they're working at really incredible organizations. They're really talented. They're doing really great work. And it's like, it's so great to know that like, we're not alone, because I know from my experience, like I was shocked when I joined the business side of the industry and like, I was the only queer person in the room. And I never thought that was going to be the case for some reason. I was just like oblivious a little bit and a little naive. Because we have come so far, obviously, in so many ways, but to feel alone like that is really hard. And I'm working directly with artists and their managers, but just internally, if you don't have that representation, is really hard. So when Queer Capita was started, to see that community already was just like, okay, wow, like that's really powerful, so yeah.
Yeah, of course. And going off of that point, what are some of the shifts that you've seen in queer representation in the industry, both on the business side and the artist side, over the past couple of years, and where do you guys see it going in the next few years? Gaurav, do you want to start us off here?
Yeah, I think to kind of go off of what Nico and Michael have said, I think, I have been consistently surprised with how large overall the queer community is, one, and then how large the queer community in music is. And it wasn't until Queer Capita kind of came around where, again, not everybody needs to run down their office with a pride flag, screaming at the top of their lungs, but being able to meet people at this mixer, I was like, wow, like, it's incredible. Like some of my closest friends now are Queer Capita members that I met at the mixer, and we don't even talk about work. We like went to a drag show together, a couple weeks ago, or Nico came to my Bollywood dance party for my birthday 2 weeks ago. And it was just like, we've been able to do so many different things. And I think I like to stay on the more optimistic side. I know that queer, trans, and POC communities are heavily under attack right now for their rights and for all of that. So I feel like spaces like Queer Capita and what we're doing and what we're trying to put forward is fantastic. We just spoke at Indie Week this past week, and I was honored. I got to go and see the panel that was also at Music Biz. And I looked around, and there were a good number of queer people there, but there were a lot of people that were not queer and who were allies or who were just from different communities. And overall, everyone came up and was like, this was the best panel. This is the most incredible thing we've seen here. And, that it feels great because, it's people are recognizing what we're doing. And, I just feel like we're in Pride Month, and maybe that's just the world I'm in, but I'm like, to me, the world is so queer right now. So it's like, this is just great. And I think it's awesome that there's so much. And I think representation, it's hard to represent everybody all the time, but I feel like all we can do is, do your best. And I think I've learned that everybody represents themselves or at least shows their queer identity differently. Not everybody wants to be super, loud about it. And some people want to be extremely loud about it, like me. And I'm very happy to do that. And I think it's, it's been great to kind of see how diverse within our community we are and how open everyone is to kind of learning and growing together.
Right. No, yeah, I think the points that you made are so important, and it's so valuable to have that representation and to feel like you have that sense of belonging. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on how queer representation on the business side relates to queer artists and queer fans. I know a lot of folks in the Finessed media community are coming here because they're seeking that kind of community, that kind of knowledge. So I would love if, Nico, you could talk a little bit about that.
For sure. So queer people overall have a very unique relationship and are very good at supporting each other. I mean, if we want to just look at the Illuminate study that we did, here, I'm just gonna read some, let me get these numbers right. Let me get these numbers right here.
Yes, please.
Okay, LGBTQ fans, this is from our Illuminate study, which you can download right now. I'll actually send a link through the comments after I read this. But this is what we presented at Music Biz, and then also use some of this data in our Indie Week panel as well. So LGBTQ plus fans spend an average of 18% more on artist merch than the general public, and LGBTQ plus listeners spend an average of $72 more per year on music than the average music listener. So that kind of just goes to show, like, we all know queer people really are at the focus of leading the culture, and we really do advocate for our own artists in our community really well. I mean, I know especially like all three of us, like me, Michael, and Gaurav, in our own work, like we definitely push queer artists and support in that way. And thankfully, like through our community of Queer Capita, we also have enough, we know that there is this community of queer people behind the scenes working to push queer artists. So that's really something that we're really proud of. And it really just goes to show that this, that we are really enacting a lot of change. So yeah, I don't know if Michael maybe wants to speak more on this.
I also wanted to there was one quote in that report that I love that I just put in the chat. Let me just get it right. We shape trends, we create trends. In the case of queer artists, we are the trend. So, you know, I love that because, you know, obviously, like, you know, there is more representation on the artist side, but of course it's never enough, you know. And another line that I also thought that I loved from my side of things is that, you know, queer listeners, it said 15% are more likely to discover a new or emerging act. And for me, that's like so crucial. And I love that because it just shows that queer people have this wide capacity. No one sticks to one genre, you know, like they want to seek out like-minded artists. And, you know, as a publicist, like I work with, you know, a lot of emerging artists, some that have never been verified, that have never had a press hit in their life. And, you know, that discovery is so important. You know, we're fighting for opportunities, you know, always to get exposure for young artists, rising artists. And so to see that also, that stat was really empowering because I'm just like, yes, the act of discovery isn't dead, you know? And I think that's a really important thing for, you know, the queer community as well. It's like, we're seeking out, we're wanting to support, we show up, we purchase music, we purchase vinyl, we purchase concert tickets. That was another thing in the report was saying that, you know, queer people are way more likely to actually go to a show and buy the artist's merch. And we all know that that's how artists make money these days. So that I think is really just empowering to know that, like, there is such a market on the consumer side and the business side that these industry professionals need to care about this community of people because we are actually showing up and we're actually purchasing. We created stan culture. I mean, so it's like, you know, to not serve that community is just doing a huge disservice for them in their pockets. And, you know, so this report, I think, being able to present it and be the ones that co-signed it at Music Biz and Indie Week, like that's huge. That's huge representation for us. And that's why Queer Capita is so important because we are showing these other industry like-minded people that, listen, we have a whole 100 different companies represented here that are doing huge work and you can't ignore us. And it can't just be for pride, you know? So I really do think that, like, I really want to be more vocal this year about that like that is something that we have to push forward, that Queer Capita is doing things 12 you know, months out of the year, you know, so it's like it's not just 1 month. I'm gonna stop yelling now.
Oh, that was amazing. Never stop yelling.
No, I think it's the passion. Sorry, just to jump on that. I think the great thing also about Queer Capita, you're saying for queer artists, I think by joining Queer Capita on the business front, because right now we're business focused, I think it's the good thing is that now more queer artists that want to put out music, and I feel like it's a way for them to reach out to more people. I mean, we have people that from all the way from Spotify to Meta to Vevo, like, you know, I think by me joining Queer Capita and, you know, speaking on this panel, if there are queer artists that do want advice or to reach out or to do that, I think the great way is, you know, we are identifying at all these companies queer people that work there. So sometimes I know that it's intimidating, especially in the music industry, to just randomly reach out to an A&R, just email a manager or go to that, you know, networking event, just go up and talk to someone, especially if you're queer. I know I was very nervous at first of, you know, I was already not comfortable in my own skin, but then also trying to network was difficult. So I think the good thing about this is now you queer people might be more comfortable reaching out to another queer person just in terms of a community sense. So I feel like that that's a good thing that we can do moving forward is, you know, kind of recognize ourselves and be like, okay, you know, we all work together. So, you know, I would love to, like, in any capacity and at every job I hold in my future, you know, I want to help as many queer artists as I can. You know, my favorite artist, Leo Kalyan, I was A&Ring him when I was at Artist Originals. He was the first queer artist they'd ever worked with, the first gay South Asian artist to release what he had released. And, you know, I did not get to see the project fully through because I switched jobs in between, but he's still doing fantastic. And, you know, I've done as much as I can to kind of still work with him. But I think that the best thing that we can do, I think, is, again, like, stand together and, you know, put our voices out there and just let each other know that we are there to help each other. And, you know, I think if I can help any queer artist, like, I'm always down to do that. So I think that as long as we can recognize that, I think that's the best step forward to go.
Yes, wow, you all shared some really amazing points. And so obviously we've talked about the importance of having the queer representation in the music industry. So I would love to hear, you guys have done so much just in the past less than a year. So I would love to hear what some of your visions are for Queer Capita for the future. Nico, do you want to start?
So take it away.
Oh, okay. I think where we're starting right now is definitely with our mentorship program, which we're announcing soon, to work with an organization like Out for Undergrad, which is an organization that works with queer undergraduate students across the nation, and they work with them for about, I think, 6 months on interview prep, networking prep, anything around that, and meeting with certain mentors. And then they have a weekend that they host all the students in New York City, and every student there, whether if they're a rising senior, gets placed with a full-time job, or if they're freshman to junior, they get placed with an internship at some really amazing companies. So we're really happy as Queer Capita to be able to provide some queer mentors in the field for some people to look up to. We all know the music industry is a tricky industry to get into, as many creative industries are. And especially being a queer person, I saw some people in the comments as well saying it's like sometimes they get anxiety at networking events, or sometimes it's nerve-wracking to reach out to someone, as Gaurav was mentioning. And that's totally true. I mean, I get nervous of reaching out to people sometimes too, or anything around that. And so to be able to open that door a little bit is really exciting, and to find some mentors and really work with the queer youth is really exciting, because we all know the queer youth are like definitely like the leading force behind change. So this is really exciting. That's something I'm looking forward to. And then I guess more longer term, we would love to expand to LA. I personally would love to expand to Miami because I love the Latin music scene there, and the weather's also amazing. So and so yeah, I mean, those are some longer term goals, but definitely we're always open to ideas, and we have these great board meetings that are always full of some great ideas. And so we're really excited about the future and excited about all the places that we can grow, and even having this opportunity to grow because of the strong community that we've built.
I can't like stress Out for Undergrad enough, I think, because just like, you know, going back to like how, you know, my journey, it's like if I could have had that in college and known that that existed, that pipeline, oh my God, I would have ate that up. I would have done it. I would have done it all 4 years. You know what I mean? So it's like, one thing I do think about queer people though, is we're resilient. You know, we've had to face so much hardship that, you know, cis people, straight people just don't understand. And so we fight. And so I love the fact that we, you know, we need each other. We're only going to win together. Like I always say that, like at my job, like I'm a 1-person team, but I'm only as good as my, you know, internal, you know, team members. And so I think that pipeline is huge. One thing I do also want to shout out about Queer Capita is we have a job referral program, which I think is great. So like if you're, a part of Queer Capita, and we should drop the form link in the chat. We send out job referrals where we have internal people who can help recommend and pass your resume along. We don't necessarily want to make it public because we do want the people to show up and support. So like you just have to sign up, and you can start getting some great job referrals, and we can help pass along your resume. But one thing I have to say about just my journey, and I'm sure everyone on this panel can speak to it as well, it's like the power of just going the extra step to send that email to someone that you admire in the industry, taking that extra step to DM someone even, and just tell them like, hey, I see you, I'm watching your work from a distance, and I'm a fan of you. Like I do that all the time to people that I respect in the industry. That's how I basically got my job that kind of set the track for the next 5 years of my life that have been the most life-changing years of my life, getting to work with some of my favorite artists. And so I do encourage and empower everyone to do that, as hard as it is. If I guarantee you, if someone on the other side receives an email that says like, hey, I see you and I really respect your work and I would love to just get 15 to 20 minutes with coffee with you, I would jump at that opportunity. So I do encourage everyone to do that. And I think Queer Capita as well is like, it's just been so helpful in that respect, because we get to just uplift each other and show up for each other, and that sense of community is just so important. So
Michael, you're gonna make me cry. I'm like, I work with Michael all the time.
Oh my gosh. Don't cry, girl. Don't cry.
I know I have makeup on and you're gonna make me run.
Oh no, that was so beautiful to hear. And I think we are nearing the end of our discussion portion. So I think to wrap us up here, I would love to hear what is one thing that you would tell your younger queer self when you were first entering the industry?
Oh my God.
Girl.
I know. Girl.
Now I really am gonna cry. Oh my God.
No.
Here's what
boys suck. No, I'm just kidding.
Here's what I would say. And I think we kind of like we did mention this earlier, is that everyone has been where you are, where this kind of like starting out place, little nerve-wracking, maybe you're not exactly sure what field you want to get into, or you want to get into music, but you're not sure what part of the industry, whether it's like PR or marketing or digital, whatever happens to be. And so I would say something that we do at Queer Capita is we do these weekly member spotlights. So it's kind of talks more about like Michael's done one, Garav's done one, I've done one. And it's kind of gives a little behind the scenes about the person and how they've gotten to where they are in their career. And it really I really like doing them because it's a great way to recognize that everyone has had the starting out place. And especially as queer people, we really want to support each other. And so I would say definitely that. And also I would say, definitely for me, I'm as a younger person, relax a little bit. The pressure, it's like you feel like you have to accomplish like so much, or feel like a lot of pressure to like figure out what you want to do with your life, or figure out what your next move would be, whether it be like an internship or a job or whatever happens to be, or you're maybe stressed that you don't have one. Here's the thing, I graduated college, I'd done 6 internships in college. I graduated college, didn't have a job offer for 3 months after. So it's like, look, you really can't plan any of this stuff. And I would say just take the pressure off. Everyone's been where you have been in this kind of figuring out space, and grant yourself like a little grace. That's what I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Michael, do you have any closing thoughts?
I was about to say, Michael, you go before me because I'm still formulating. You're better at this.
I don't know. I would just, what would I say to my younger self? I would just say like, keep doing you. I don't know. Like, I really
say you go, girl.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, there's just always been this passion. And I do think that's really important. Like, and I do think it sets you apart. Like, I'm noticing that in my job, like not to toot my own horn, but like, I don't know, I've just had this like life-changing last 5 years, this transcendent experience getting to work with artists that I really fucking respect, and to have that bond with them and to get to work so closely with them is all I ever wanted, and so I really just think being your most authentic self is how you win. And I'm proud of myself for, like I said, I've been in the room where I've only, been the only queer person talking to all straight managers about a band that so it's like, I understand how that feels. And I haven't changed who I am, though. I continue to be myself, or try to be my very best version of myself. And that's all you can kind of do, you know? And if you're doing that, then that's winning, in my opinion. And so, you know, it's hard sometimes, but like, that's why Queer Capita, I think, is just so important. Because, and you know what, shout out to the chat, by the way, because I feel that sense of community already in this panel. You know, and you know, I really feel it. And so I just thank you guys for being so receptive and having us. I'm done.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna like jump off of what Michael was saying. I think that when I was younger, what I would tell my younger self is exactly the same that Michael is saying. I think it was like, I felt like I had to code switch a lot and like tone myself down. And I'm too gay for this room and not gay enough for this room, or too loud for this, or too flamboyant here. I'm like, now I'm like, excuse my language, but like, fuck all that. Like, I just, like, seriously. I don't really care. I don't, if I'm too much for, if you know, if like, you know, if it's too hot in the kitchen, like, get out. Like, if you can't handle all of this, then it's like, it is what it is. And this is not an environment that I want to be in. Like, it took me a long time, but I'm also on the side, content writer for the biggest queer blog in India. And I include that on my resume. Like, I want to make it very clear that this is part of me. And I put Queer Capita on my LinkedIn. And, you know, I don't want to go anywhere where I don't feel like that part. I mean, that's not part of me. That's all of me. Like, I don't want to feel like that I have to be different. I mean, that I have to tone those things down. And people should respect you and want to listen to you because you've got great ideas and you're a good person, not because you're just gay. Like, I'm tired of also, so what's your perspective? Like, you know, please tell me if I'm doing pride right or whatever at a company. Like, that was a lot of what I did at GeoSolve. Sure, I can give that perspective, but like, again, I don't want you to just listen to me with your eyes and ears open during June. Like, I have great ideas all year round and I have a lot more to bring to the table. And now I'm very aggressive about making sure people know that, like, it's not just a time thing. Like, you know, you're going to take all of this with all of the great ideas that I have all year round, and that's how it's going to be. So I guess my younger self, as Michael said, just, you know, you go, girl, just do it. Like, just 100%. Go for it and don't be scared, you know, just.
Oh yeah. And people really respect the authenticity and they recognize it.
Exactly.
Also, I just want to say one thing as well, like, trans representation and the lack of it, and I know it's a little off topic, but like, I just have to say it, is like, breaks my heart. You know, like, it hurts that there's no representation for trans people on the business side and as artists in this industry, and that absolutely needs to change. And thank God for some of the pioneers that are paving the way currently for that. But on the industry side of things,
we have a long way to go.
It's so bad. And so whatever we can do, and maybe I challenge Queer Capita in this call as well, Nico. Like,
oh my God.
Let's do something. Let's do something for that community specifically.
I really am.
We absolutely need to uplift this community that has been completely left out. And so if there's anything that we can do with Queer Capita and, you know, trans youth, or trying to also get in the music industry, I think that would be incredible.
That is a good point. I will say we are really on this call because we are open to new ideas as Queer Capita. We're always open to new voices in the room. We have monthly board meetings if you want to join our board. It's a little hectic in those meetings, but it's definitely fun with new ideas. So, and yeah, Queer Capita we're at a great starting point, but we have a long way to go, not only as an organization, but as a community that can really give representation, not only from the business side, but from the artist side as well. So we are always open to new ideas. And
stay tuned and follow us wherever platform you want, because I really do think we're going to have a lot of exciting stuff. Like, I think people at first just thought it was going to be like cute little mixers, but like, no, we're like trying to impact change in the industry. So I think the more that people start understanding that and realizing that they're going to be blown away by just, you know, how much we can offer and what we are offering already. So.
Yes, I love that. I think that is a really, really great point for us to end our discussion on. Thank you guys so much again for everything that you shared about your journey, about Queer Capita. And I'm sure the audience also has some questions to ask. So before we break out into our networking session, stick around. So we're going to open it to the audience Q&A until 1 o'clock. So if you want to ask a question, then you can use the raise hand function.
Ask us a question.
I know.
Don't be shy.
Don't be
Not
shy.
to all
I do
answer.
want to say, I saw a comment in the chat earlier where it said Midwest is going to take over the music industry. I want to say I'm from Minnesota. So if that wasn't clear, I'm part of the Midwest as well. So if anyone.
Love to see it.
Me and Michael, Midwestern girls.
I'm a Jersey girl.
I know. Jersey girl.
Okay, so let's see. We have a question from Flossie. Flossie, if you want to introduce yourself and ask your question.
Hi, I'm Flossie. I'm a DJ and producer in LA, and I'm a super ally. So how can we help, or can we join? I live in West Hollywood. It's been Pride here.
I used to live in West Hollywood for 2 months. Loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we get this question a good amount. As Queer Capita, we love our allies and we definitely appreciate the support. As of right now, there's not a way for allies to join the community directly, but I think the best way to support is definitely just encourage friends to join. We do have some events that are open to allies here and there, but I think the best way is just like let your friends know about Queer Capita, share our posts on social, and also just be active in that community and letting people know, and also just be active in your own life and in your own workplace when you see an opportunity to uplift a queer person or uplift a queer artist. I think that's really important, and I'm sure you're already doing great work.
I feel like word of mouth is kind of everything, you know, like that's how everything spreads. And like you said, like sharing social posts, and that's how everyone finds out about stuff. So it's like, if you know of anyone that you think would be great and that could use this community that's currently working in the music industry that's queer, like please send them our way. Like, you know, the more the merrier. So
Awesome. Thank you for asking your question, Flossie. Thanks for joining us today. Jordan, do you want to introduce yourself and ask your question?
Yeah, hi, Jordan. I'm the events manager here at Finessed Media. Thank you again, Nico, Michael, and Gaurav for speaking with us today. I really appreciate that. But my question is, well, Michael, you actually talked about like, you know, reaching out to people you admire to just like network with them.
yes.
And even me as the events manager, I have to reach out to people every week to be on our events, but I still get so nervous just talking to people, like, I mean, like people I admire, people I look up to. So what do y'all think, or what do you think about like how to get over that, or just not be afraid anymore trying to talk to people that you've never talked to before?
Yeah, you know, I always go into meetings like that, even if it's an interview or if it's just an informational meeting, and I do my research. You know, the more informed I am, the less nervous I get. You know, like I always get a little bit nervous, even though I feel like I'm super social. I still get nervous all the time for everything, all the time. Every Zoom call with an artist manager, I get a little nervous. Like that's just me, and so I do have anxiety. You know, so you know, but like being informed and going in and just being, you know, showing who you are and showing your passion and showing your just a little bit that you're interested in, that you know about the person, about what they do. You come prepared with questions. Like you just have to allow yourself to, the more informed you are, the more comfortable you'll be, and you'll let yourself just shine a little bit more. But again, like I do just, and you know, it can start with an email or just a quick phone call. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Like, you know, an email that shows that you're, you know, absolutely interested and like engaged in who this person is and what they do and wanting to find out more. And a short little phone call, you know, is just how it starts. And then you can really start developing that relationship over time. Like one thing that I hate is like people thinking like it's transactional. Like I never go into it being like, get me this job. It's like, no, I'm actually going because I really do want a mentor. Like I'm still trying to desperately find like a mentor. I think that's huge. It's absolutely huge. And so I you know, challenge people to do the same, because if you can look up to someone and see that what they're doing that inspires you, like that's only gonna push you and, you know, help your drive and realize that like, oh, I can do it too, you know? And so I think like just being informed and letting your true self shine, you got yourself, you know, don't beat yourself up over it, and don't give yourself too much anxiety before, because it won't do you any good.
All right. Thank you so much.
Michael, that was some great advice.
I know. I was like, Michael, I want you to be my mentor.
I know. I'm like, Michael.
You know what? I'm open, but you need to apply through Out for Undergrad. Sorry.
I was going to text you after this.
Amazing. Jordan, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you all so much.
All right, perfect. Amber, do you want to introduce yourself and ask your question?
Sure. Yeah, so Amber DeBellis, guitarist from the Twin Cities, do other stuff, but sponsored by Jackson Guitars and stuff. But I wanted to ask about, because you guys have mentioned multiple times the sort of like lack of trans representation in music and in the music scenes. And from what I've experienced, so like, for example, I've gotten where I am personally, like with my sponsorships and all of that, completely from the outside. Like I had no formal training whatsoever. I have no connections whatsoever. Similar to like my friends. So example, another one of my trans artist friends, she got like 20,000 followers on TikTok in like the last 2 months, is getting a lot of invites to go to places, but she also has no idea what anything is. She is also coming at this from completely the outside. And I could say that a couple more times about other artists as well. And I'm just wondering, do you have any sort of advice? Because it really seems like part of the trans experience, not wholly, but is often being a little more isolated. It's harder to get along with other people because, I mean, people are getting kicked out of their families and stuff. So it's harder to just get along with anybody. And like, at least here, you know, like I've gotten to where I am, and my friend has gotten to where she has, and like we're still struggling even to like play decent gigs despite like having like 50,000 followers between the two of us and stuff, you know. So it's just what kind of advice do you have for people coming at this from completely outside the industry who are just now finding themselves here, especially for trans people?
I can start from like a general perspective. You know, I think that especially if I think all of us at some point have been outside of something where we've, you know, it's even within the music industry, as you start, as Michael mentioned, it's all about networking just to get our jobs or to go from one job to the other. Or, you know, if we had an event, we needed to book an artist and I had no idea who their manager was, you know, the biggest thing is just is reaching out. Like it's very basic, but you know, LinkedIn, Nico messaged me on LinkedIn. I've messaged people on LinkedIn. I'm not saying LinkedIn for this in specific, but just, you know, I think connecting and reaching out, and, you know, Queer Capita is creating these events for queer people in the industry and, you know, for artists. So I think obviously going to things like that and doing that. And, you know, I can only speak from, you know, my experience of, you know, with the trans community, you know, here at Meta, it's very open, and, you know, we have a pride group. We have, you know, a trans group where, you know, trans people that work at Meta are, you know, are able to get together and do things like that. But I think that there definitely is like a really long, still a long way to go, but I think it is a focus for the industry overall. And so I think that I'm optimistic of kind of the movement that is moving forward on it. Michael, if you want to add.
Yeah, I was gonna also say, like, in like a more holistic way, it's like, don't lose your like spirit. Like you've already gone through so much, so continue that. Let that empower you to learn about everything about the industry. Go and pick up a book that like you can just like inform yourself a little bit about the basics, right? Like, and then push and keep pushing. And, you know, I say that almost to every artist. Like every artist has to like really put themselves out there in a big way if that's what you're looking for. And it's not easy. It's absolutely not easy. And it's absolutely not easy when you feel so alone and like you don't see any representation. So I empathize wholeheartedly, but like let your experience also guide you and use it as like a superpower that like I've accomplished so much by just who I am, that I'm gonna keep fighting for my dream. You know, if you keep fighting, if you keep DMing, if you keep, you know, X, Y, and Z, you know, it will pay off. Like I really do believe that, in whatever way. It might not mean that you're Lady Gaga, but it's like, you know what, you might start forming relationships. One thing I'll also say is like, find your local music community. I'm not sure exactly where are you based again?
Twin Cities.
okay, Twin Cities. I'm not sure what the music city. I'm not sure what the music scene is like at all there. But like, there's gotta be something. Or go to Chicago, or go to specific places where you can dive in and meet other people. Like meeting, when I started, I always was going to shows, going to specific places where I could meet other like-minded music people. And if there's, like I said earlier, like if there's anyone that you would love to work with, if it comes like a manager, or if it comes to a songwriter or a producer, really try and just form that relationship any way you can. But first and foremost, use your experience for the better to guide you and push you, because you're so resilient, you're so strong, and thank God things are slowly changing and your time will come. So it's like, I don't know, I just want to empower you to like keep pushing, because every artist has this issue. You're not alone. Like a lot of artists don't understand the business side or how to get into that side. Everyone has to just kind of figure that shit out. But it's like the more that you push yourself to learn about different aspects of the industry and how it all forms together, it just makes you that much of a stronger, artist, I think. But
I think just what Michael was saying, like, I just want to support in the sense that, like, if you are the most talented and smartest person in the room, it doesn't matter who you are, you will get recognized. So that's my best advice to anybody. It's like, I think at the end of the day, like, if you know your shit and you work really hard on your craft and, you focus on it, and people will have to listen to you, or people will have to give you that, because you just can't take that. You can't take away someone's intellect or their talent, no matter where.
And you're already further ahead than some. Like I work with artists that have like 1,000 followers. You know what I mean? So like, don't count yourself out. Like you're ahead already of so many probably other people. So like, realize what you have going, and then really, like, as a publicist, like my job is to like, be with the artist and figure out their story and what makes them unique and special. And you have to do that about yourself. You have to pitch yourself to these people, right? So like, you have to really think about like, who am I? What do I bring to the table? What do you want the world to know about you? Like, what do you call yourself? Do you call yourself a producer, a songwriter? And then really like delve into like, what makes you. I think that's what I do with all my artists. That's how I pitch to editors and get coverage in media. It's like, I break it down to the very basics, because actually your story is probably very empowering. So it's like, use that to your advantage.
Thank you for your question, Amber. I hope that was helpful. And I also just want to plug that Finessed Media, we host free music business events every single weekend. So if you want to learn more about the business side, we are obviously very open and welcoming to the LGBTQ plus community. So I really hope you can join us again, Amber. Thanks for joining our community today. Thank you. So we have time for maybe one more question, and then we're going to open it up to the breakout networking rooms. So Saskia, do you want to introduce yourself and ask your question?
Hi everyone, I'm Saskia, and I'm also a trans woman, but I've been working in the music business. I've actually got my master's in international music marketing. And I do artist development, artist management, and also help with marketing, international music marketing. But I'm based in London, so I'm very keen on networking internationally, which is why I come to all of your Finessed Media. And I've also been to the Music Biz Worldwide and Indie Week, funnily enough. So I do know about the networking skills that you need to kind of progress in the music industry. But I just also want to say that I'm forming a new trans girl band, the first of its kind for the UK. And I'd be very interested in trying to I'm forming a group, first trans girl group, only trans girl group. And I'm also looking to get events in the States, maybe not this year, but next year. I was wondering, do you also provide events for artists to perform on and stuff like that?
We have not done that yet. We are still growing, but that definitely is a place where we'd love to expand to. I think what we could provide mostly now would just be like any helpful advice from our membership or from our board. But unfortunately, we cannot like provide a platform because we don't have an official artist list for that yet. We want to make sure it's like the best that it can be, and we just don't have those resources yet.
I did also apply to be a mentor as well. So if there's other people who don't have any trans artists, I did apply about a week ago because I do know I do know the events manager, Music Biz, and he was the one who told me about Queer Capita. So I kind of know about the work you do. Yeah. I know it begins with an A. I can't remember his name. It begins with an A.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for inviting me to be a mentor, and thank you so much for coming to this panel and wanting to
I'm
work
on all
with
the
us.
panels, trust me. I love networking. I'm all over the
Oh,
world.
I want to hear this girl group.
Yeah.
It sounds sick.
Thank you. I have
What
put
is it like?
I have put a little ad into the thing. I'm actually doing auditions for the group at the moment, actually.
Oh.
I've already done the kind of marketing campaign, the plan, and the budget. I know all of that stuff.
Do you know how huge that is? Like, right when you said that, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, has there been one? You know, like a major one? Like, that could be like so massive. So yeah, wow.
Thank you. It's about diversifying the music industry landscape. That's really what I want to do. And educate and inspire as well at the same time.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah, congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you. Thanks.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for asking your question, Saskia. So we are going to have one last question before we open it up to our breakout rooms. So Forrest, do you want to introduce yourself and ask your question?
Yes, hi, I'm Forrest Osborne. I'm from Ypsilanti, Michigan, just outside of Detroit in Michigan. I'm trans, they and she. And you kind of answered and kind of spoke to a lot of what I was wondering about as far as mentorship. I'm from the artist side. Do you have any specific advice? Like during the pandemic, I started transitioning kind of mid-pandemic. I had to move back because of financial reasons from New York City to here. And the community here is not as strong or extensive. And I've been struggling to find mentorship to help expand my production capacity. I've invested in equipment. My unemployment, I was able to use a lot of that to invest in equipment that I was not able to afford beforehand. So I've been trying to invest in tools. But what would you recommend as far as someone in my position who has a remote situation and kind of struggles getting the physical proximity to maybe a community that has mentors? Would you have any recommendations of how to navigate that? Because I'm trying to be more self-sufficient and to do as much on my own, but there are limitations. So that's kind of my question of what kind of advice or pathways would you recommend?
And you're talking about reaching out to for instance, another producer to get that type of mentorship? Or are you talking about
no, sorry, the artist production, performance mentorship?
Honestly, I think it's kind of what I was saying earlier. For me, it's I always really strategize who I want to reach out to. I don't just reach out to everybody. I really reach out in a very strategic way about people that I really, really want to work with in some capacity or know. And it might be as easy as an Instagram DM, and then you might be able to do a Zoom, and have weekly Zooms or something. All of my artists during the pandemic were having Zoom writing sessions. So what, that's one thing I'll say about the pandemic is it really has opened that possibility of doing what you're doing now by joining this panel and doing that with someone you admire. And so I would say just as just my opinion, it's just reach out to someone that you might feel might be open to it. Also, let's connect. There might be people that I'm actually realizing in my network that might be great for you. So let's
I appreciate that.
Instagram, and perhaps someone might be down to give you lessons on certain production things over Zoom. It might be as easy as that, but let's connect for sure, because there might be people that I can put you in touch with.
I would appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, because I've been using YouTube and as many resources that I could from the remote situation that I'm in.
Right.
But I kind of craving and wanting to elevate and go further and more. And I'm way past the age of being able to get a lot of funding for undergrad. I've already had undergrad in a different sector. So just but thank you for that.
I'll say is I have a lot of DJ friends all the time, and I feel like I go out a lot. I feel like they're willing to help their community, you know? And so, you know what, there might be someone that really would be happy to do that for you, so, don't lose hope. We'll find someone, and keep also one thing I'll say, it's keep just doing it. And if you can't find someone, just keep fucking putting in the work and keep doing it. You know what? Your success is not going to be really dependent on that person anyway. It's going to be you that fucking drives that success.
Absolutely.
So you know what? Just keep doing it. Keep hanking out shit, and one day you might realize you're making headway, and so I guess that's kind of like the general theme is like, just keep doing it, keep putting in the work, keep showing up, keep educating yourself and like in whatever way you can. And then let's try and work and find to see if someone will be down to do some sort of Zoom session or something. And let us know when you're back.
Thank you. Oh, absolutely. Thank you. I'm going to be there for Pride this next week. Thank
hell yeah. Hell yeah. I'm already exhausted.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm preparing. I'm drinking lots of water already.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you for asking your question, Forrest. So that wraps up our audience Q&A. So before we jump into our networking session, if you guys have enjoyed this panel today, if you are feeling the love from this community, I want you to unmute real quick and give us a little woo woo.
I love it. You guys did a great job.
Yeah. Thank you so much for putting this together, all of you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Of course. Thank you.
Shout out to Finessed Media for doing
shout
that.
out.
And shout out to Nico and Dan for giving us Per Capita too.
Yeah, we can't stress enough just how much Nico has put into this. This is
so much
his baby, and it's been really inspiring. It's really empowered me to like want to like just continue to
do more,
do more, to show up. Like it's really important. And you know what? Like this year we're gonna get it. So like, you know what? Keep following us.
Nico's a humble king, but you know, him and Dan do a lot. So that's why I want to close by saying shout out to Dan and Nico and obviously Bea for doing this. And you know, it's like the best thing ever. Like nothing better to do on Saturday, you know, 1 week out from Pride.
Yeah, thank you all so much.
Yes.
Good point.
Yes, amazing. We have talked so much today about the importance of building community. So we are going to do our breakout rooms for the networking session. Welcome back, everyone. How were the breakout rooms? Did you guys meet some cool new people?
Fast and really quick.
It was way too quick.
I know. I really wish that the networking sessions could be longer because I love getting to meet all of you and getting to, you know, build community with you all.
It was awesome. Thank you again, Bea, for that.
Yeah, of course. So I think this might be everyone coming back from our breakout room. So we are about ready to wrap up here. So before we close out the event, I just want to open the floor again to Nico, Michael, and Gaurav. If you have any last words, any closing thoughts, and if you want to plug anything and let folks know where they can find you.
You guys are all great. We love this. This was awesome. Shout out to
This was a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much for having us.
Thank you. Yes, stay updated on Queer Capita. Just like search Queer Capita on like any social platform. Well, we're only on Instagram and LinkedIn.
Yeah.
But you can find us there, and we have a lot more events coming up this year outside of New York as well. And we also have some virtual ones coming up. So there'll be many more places to interact with us and grow our community. And yeah, I'm happy that everyone joined us. And I know it can sometimes be alienating, be like a queer person in the workplace or as an artist. And just to know that we all have this community where we can all support each other is really, really exciting. So thank you all for joining.
My email will be circulated and my Instagram, not like that. That was a shameless plug, but like if you didn't get to email, like ask me a question or you want to stay in touch, please feel free to email me. I'm more than happy to do one-on-one like Zooms throughout the work week. Like this is very important to me. So I will definitely through that email, more than happy to schedule time. I think Bea, you'll circulate that information. So please feel free to reach out for sure.
Yeah, all of our emails are really easy. It's just our name. So Nico@queercapita.com, Gaurav@queercapita.com, and then Michael at Queer Capita. So it's like super easy.
You just sent it to me. So.
Yes, amazing. If you haven't,
I was just gonna say thank you for hosting us. Like I was saying in the last like breakout, like I'm just realizing how important this is, like really important for people all over the country, all around the world to be able to join, because like we all can't live in New York and LA. You know what I mean? Like, so I really think that this is really important, and I'm excited to see Queer Capita expand, and like hopefully we'll be able to do some in-person events in your areas if you're not in New York or LA. But just wanted to say thank you for hosting, and thanks for everyone being so supportive. I'll also put my contact info in the sheet.
Yeah, if I'm ever in the Midwest, I know there are plenty of people I can hang out with. So, or if I'm ever in London again, which I probably will be in another 2 months, and so it's great to do that. And if you're ever in New York, let us know. We're all there.
Yes, amazing. I love to see all of the connections happening. And if you haven't already, definitely check out the contact sheet that Emily dropped in the chat. Everybody's contact information, social media, the links to the information that Queer Capita shared to all of their programming and everything will be included in that sheet as well. And thank you again for joining us. And I'm going to pass it off to Jordan to close this off.
Thank you, Bea. I'd just like to give a round of applause to you, Bea, for hosting this awesome event. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Bea.
Bea. And thank you again, Nico, Michael, and Gara for being just really great speakers and willing to share your information. We love to not gatekeep here at Finessed Media, and we always have the best speakers on here that share our same values. So really appreciate you for being here and doing that with us. And thank you all audience members for coming back and supporting Finessed Media and having us support you too. We love to create these safe spaces for everyone. So we hope to see you again. But before we end, I'd like to share our upcoming events with y'all. Next week, we actually will not have an event. We're going to be in NYC for the NYC NFT event with Lil Bitcoin and all those metaverse and crypto things going on. You'll learn about that on our Instagram. But the following week, we'll have a beat battle. So we're going to have some really cool producers on as judges who worked with some really great, really big name artists. You'll get some more information on that coming up next week. We'll post about it. But if you're a producer, submit your beats so we can be in the competition to hopefully win and get to have one-on-one time with one of the judges, one of the producers. Then after that, we'll have an event on releasing music as an indie artist. So we'll talk about publishing, distribution, everything like that. And then after that, we'll have a mental health event. So look out for all these really cool things happening at Finessed Media. Once again, thank you all for being here. And we hope your Saturday the rest of your Saturday will be really fun and well and, prideful. Yeah.
Happy Pride, everybody.
Yes.
Happy Pride.
Happy
Have a great Saturday.
Thank you, guys.